Dana.
And a Fox News alert, Blue Origin's flight that is going to take Star Trek's Captain Kirk to space. It's on hold. We are still at least 45 minutes away from launch. William Shatner, who turned 90 earlier this year, is about to make history as the oldest man to go to space. Let's bring in former NASA astronaut Mike Massimino and Neil Cavuto, who interviewed Shatner earlier this week. Neil, one of the things that's interesting to me about this is that, as I understand it, space travel has always been for the very young and the very fit.
Right.
And Shatner is very mentally and physically active at 90, but this is really fulfilling a vision that people have had for a long time, that regular people could also go to space.
I'm just delighted to hear that you don't have to be very fit. So the fact of the matter is he's 90 years young, and it's sort of like a culmination of just where the space program is going, with more individuals being allowed to fly. Of course, he is a guest on this flight, as is the vice president over at Blue Origin on this flight. The other two are paying customers, but even the paying customers are paying less than many thought they would be, little more than a year ago at this time.
How much?
We're told it's around $250,000 each. So for a 10-minute flight, that works out to about 25 grand a minute.
A lot.
But again, that is a sign of the demand that's out there right now, and the supply of people who want to participate here. It's spreading out, and the costs are going down.
See how Cavuto does that? Supply and demand.
There you go. It's all economics.
Massimino, we're going to talk about transitory definitions with you. We're going to get a twofer from him. Mike, you were with us back in July 20th. They had the first big liftoff. It was symbolic, I would argue. It was cool. Right. Wally Funk was on board. She was 82. A couple of days later, she said she was kind of disappointed. I would not be. I'd love to do this, Mike. What do we expect today?
Well, and Bill, I hope you get a chance to do it, and Neil as well. And it's opening. I think one thing we're seeing is it is opening it up to more and more people, and you don't need to be very young or in great shape to be well enough to get on the rocket ship. But I think today we will see more of the same. I think it's interesting that William Shatner, who has, because he is on the flight, has created a lot of interest and publicity for it. But I think we'll see similar to what we saw last time. They'll get on board, they'll launch. There'll be some pretty good camera images, I would think, from on board of them floating around and enjoying the view, and then they'll come back and tell us what it was like. So I think it's kind of a version 2 of what we saw back in July.
Mike, they're on about a 20-minute hold right now. What all are the considerations that go into that?
Yeah, I don't know, Dana. We can guess, and then we'll find out that we guessed incorrectly. But if I was going to guess, I would think it's maybe something to do with just getting people settled. Maybe they got a little bit late out the door for after breakfast this morning. It could be something as simple as that. It could be something more serious where they're checking some of the systems. It could be a weather condition where they're a little concerned about the winds. If they have to, they could have to protect not only for the launch and the planned recovery, but also for abort scenarios. So all of that has to work, and maybe they're waiting for some clearances on that. Those are typically the things that it is. Just, it's something to do with the system, something to do with the weather, or they're just being a little bit slow and deliberate about things.
May I ask just a question from someone who doesn't know a lot? Like, can you eat breakfast before you go into space like this?
That's a really great question, Dana. What they told us is, don't eat anything that you don't want to see later. But we were going to be in weightlessness for a while, and it takes at least a few minutes for that nausea to set in. So I think they're probably okay. It's always good to have something in your stomach, though, but you want to be maybe a little careful on launch morning.
It's a great answer, Mike. This was delayed, Neil, by a day because of weather conditions. The wind was an issue out there, et cetera. Get back to the novelty of today. You had Shatner on the other day, right? I mean, he's 90. He's
incredible.
He's a vibrant guy.
Absolutely.
Just here's a clip from your conversation with him. William Shatner this week on Fox.
I'm going to look out the window, Neil. I'm going to see the vastness of space and the fragility of the Earth. And I'm going to continue that theme in my thinking and in my work.
Well, that's great stuff. In another interview, he said, I'm going to look out the window and hope nobody looks back at me on the outside.
The old Twilight Zone episode.
Great
right?
line.
Yeah.
What'd you think about your conversation with him?
Well, he's just a remarkable guy. And, Mike, of course, is a great astronaut. As an Italian-American, I'm proud of Mike. He's done a lot for my people. But there's got to be something in Mike that just, because he trained hard for that, to be an astronaut. There's a whole, brotherhood, sisterhood to that honor. And these people are just waltzing on. I'm not anything critical about it, but, there is sort of now this widening pool of potential candidates where anyone, can be considered or be invited by Jeff Bezos or Richard Branson and Virgin Galactic. By the way, we're told that Shatner had turned down an invite from Richard Branson to fly on his Virgin Galactic. He said he just thought that maybe Bezos was a better fit. I don't know the whole details of it.
You must be getting more shares of Amazon.
I don't know.
You're exactly right about the ease by which they're going. I think the last crew showed up the day before.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
Next thing you know, you'll just need to be there an hour and a half before the flight.
Fine. What's interesting, though, and you think what people like Mike went through and all of this, I mean, it's a rigorous process and all. The only thing, and all kidding aside, is that we should never take this cavalierly or lightly. Going into space is not like taking a JetBlue flight. There are a lot of risks to it. We're sort of seeing and getting used to this now, which is all well and good. But the fact of the matter is, it's still dangerous there. And we have to keep that in mind. And to your point earlier, Bill, about what might prompt a delay and all of that stuff, it could be winds, it could be something in the capsule, it could be something simple, as Mike pointed out, just getting, all seated and ready. But time is going to be tight on this mission. As I said, it's a 10-minute mission. You have about 4 minutes of weightlessness. If that were me, just getting out of the seat occupies the 4 minutes. So, you really want to treasure this moment for the very few brief moments you're going to have.
Great to see you.
You
on standby. Massimino, that means you too, okay?
Absolutely.
You two Italians.
There we go.
We will
Italians.
come back. Thank you, guys.